Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to BRAP. It's Wednesday, and look, I'm actually a little bit under the weather. To mention to the gentleman on the panel when they jumped on, but I am a little bit under the weather today. So if I don't have as much energy, that's because I'm under the weather. So, but look, I want to give big shout out to everyone in the live chat. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with us again this evening. Appreciate the time as always, and do me a quick favor and please drop the link in the live chat there. You just let everyone know, or to drop it. I dropped the link in the live chat. Please tweet out the link or post it on your favorite social media platform and let everyone know that we're alive. So we got a lot to talk about. Gonna talk some Horizon Forbidden West Burning Shore DLC, which just came out today, and we're gonna discuss some Xbox related news and content as well. And yes, Capone says hit that like button. Please hit that like button if you haven't done so already. But I do want to introduce the panel here. Let me introduce our first time guest. We have Doc Dark with us. Doc, welcome to BRAP, sir.
Hey, I appreciate it. I'm excited to be here. Shout out to the chat. Make sure you guys hit that like button, retweet it. There's levels to this, and there's gonna be levels today with everything that I've been going through. But thank you for having me here, man.
Oh no, absolutely, man, absolutely. And it's funny, we were chatting before the show went live, and you're like, "Oh, wait a minute, that's content. That's content." So we'll talk about
all day.
Yeah, we'll talk about kind of what we were discussing pre-show, and then we have Game Logic with us tonight as well. Game Logic, what's going on, man?
Not much, man. Same old.
All right. Well, look, as I mentioned, we're gonna talk some Xbox related things, and it's kind of why I wanted to have Doc on, because I was listening to Doc on Reforged Gaming, and Doc, you look. There's been the Xbox has been in the news for the Redfall thing, the 30 frames per second. Now we find out per Digital Foundry that Ghostwire Tokyo is actually plays worse on the Xbox console. And that's kind of puzzling to me, because like it's now Tango Gameworks is now a Xbox first party studio. The game released a year ago on the PlayStation 5, and here it is having performance issues or not performing as well as the PlayStation 5 version. At least I would imagine that in that case you would have that game maybe go through some polish and at least perform on par or better, given that it's technically a first-party game on the Xbox platform. So, Doc, let me. I heard you brought up a very interesting point. Well, I thought it was kind of funny, by the way, on Reforged Gaming Show about how you're coping with some of the news as it relates to the Series X or the Xbox, but more specifically Series X. Because look, we said this on this show on Friday. We, myself and Slow-Mo Backslap did a BRAP rant. Look, the hardware, the Xbox Series X hardware is very capable. 12 teraflops. It's a powerful machine, but I always say there's a but to that though. And the but for me is that I still haven't seen something that has said, okay, or has been kind of a showpiece to the Xbox Series X. And I'll talk about how that's different from what Microsoft's previously done with some of their other most powerful consoles that they've had in the market. And that's what we talked about before we went live on the show, Doc. But tell me a little bit kind of how your coping mechanism per se with the Series X.
All right, Brad. If we're gonna start this way, let's go ahead and start. Then let's go. If we want,
we're just gonna jump at it right now, man.
Sure, you don't want to ask Game Logic what he's been playing or something? I don't. Okay, all right, let's go. All right.
Well, here's the thing, Doc. We only have you for an hour, so it's like we just got to jump into it right now, man.
I know, man. I've been trying to dodge this, man, because I've been dealing with this all week. And all right. So here's the truth, right? I don't know the specs of this console. I have no idea. I don't believe anything now. I don't believe anything. But the way that I'm coping with this, just in case anybody hasn't heard me say this before, is I realize what the Xbox Series X really is. BRAP. It is simply a low tier to mid tier sometimes gaming PC that I paid $500 for. So you see, if I go out right now to Micro Center or to Best Buy or to anywhere, or Newegg, and I decide to buy a gaming PC for $500, I'm probably also gonna get something that's probably gonna run Redfall at 30 frames per second, if it can even run it at all. I'm probably gonna get something that could barely run Ghostwire Tokyo at 1440p or whatever it is. I can barely get the frame rates to be stable. So the way I'm looking at it is my Xbox Series X, literally right now, I have it connected to a monitor. I got a keyboard that I'm gonna order. I have this mouse, this really nice mouse that I'm gonna order. I'm gonna start working on it on purpose. I'm gonna download Microsoft Edge. I'm gonna use it as a PC because that's the only way I could cope with this thing not doing what the box, again, what's on the box advertises. So as far as the specs, I don't want to see another spec sheet. I don't want to see any what's that dude name? There's this one dude that every single week he's got a new video about Xbox and the new technology that's coming out and new update and everything. And he always says, "Welcome to the channel." I don't remember his name, but this dude always has something. I don't want to hear about it anymore. I got a $500 PC, and that's why these games run this way. So if I want games to run better, I just gotta upgrade my PC. See how I did that there?
So you're
killing me inside, BRAP.
I don't disagree with you about kind of the I guess for lack of it, like what you said about, the box, like you're not seeing what was advertised on the box, and I think that speaks to the marketing. So Doc, is this? I'm assuming this isn't your first Xbox, right? You probably had Xbox One last generation.
No. So this is not my first Xbox, but this is my first Xbox that I've actually used.
Okay, gotcha.
So I had an Xbox One S, but I had it because I found it like on OfferUp really cheap, and I bought it off of some dude. But I never really used it. This is my first generation of playing Xbox games, and that's really important for people to understand, because if you understand that, then you can see why, if you follow me, why I love Game Pass so much and why I have enjoyed my time with the Xbox Series X. So even though the Xbox Series X has been a disappointment on many levels for me, overall I have gamed the most that I have ever gamed. I have gamed at the price point that's right for me, and I have been able to experience generations of games that I haven't played before. You get what I'm saying? So
yeah,
it's a little bit different when somebody tells you Xbox has no games and you start running through all the Halos, right? And you're kind of like, what are they talking about? Xbox has no games, and then you run through all the Gears, and you're like, what are you talking about? Xbox has no games, and you play something like Sunset Overdrive, and you're like, what are you talking about, right? Xbox has no games, and you play something like Ninja Gaiden, right? And it's like, what are we talking about? Or somebody tells you Game Pass is trash, and I'm looking at it, $15 a month, and I get all these games that I could try out that I've never played before. You know what I mean? And I have a Twitch channel as well, so anyone that wants to say, "Oh, you're just trying out the games, you're not beating them," you can watch me on Twitch. Like, I've beaten so many games, it's ridiculous, and it has been because of this console. So I can't neglect that part of it. So for me, in all honesty, no cap, my Xbox Series X is a great Xbox OG, Xbox 360, and Xbox One S.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's been great for me. As far as like new games that I have played, maybe I've played Psychonauts 2, I beat that. Halo Infinite, I beat that. Hi-Fi Rush, beat that. High on Life, beat that. So I have been playing Plexio Requiem. Oh my god, that game is so good. So I have played games that have dropped, right? But none of these games I would say could only run on the Series X. You know what I'm saying? These are still games that I would have been able to play on an Xbox One S as well, or Xbox One X. So yeah, so that's my gaming history. So when people understand that, then they understand why when I look at Game Pass, like, no, I do have a lot to play, and I still have a lot to play. I still haven't ran out of games to play. So for me, like, yeah, it sucks that Redfall is gonna run at 30 frames, but I can wait. I have more than enough stuff that I still got to catch up on and play that I can wait.
Yeah. By the way, Ninja Gaiden, that's wow, amazing game, amazing game. I remember when it came out 20-something years ago. And it was a Xbox, the original Xbox exclusive. It was at that time was a great gameplay, great visually just stunning. It was an awesome game. So that's cool. You got to go back and play. You got to go back and play it. So Doc, are you surprised though that Tokyo or that Ghostwire Tokyo doesn't run as well on these series consoles as it does PlayStation 5? Does that surprise you?
I've been surprised since Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I remember when that game was advertised as optimized for the Series X and S, and it still ran better on the PS5. I still remember that. I made a video about that back then. But this is just, every single time this happens, it's just another slap in the face. See, the Series X was not advertised as just being a little bit more powerful than the PS5. It wasn't advertised as being as powerful as the PS5. No. I remember people talking about this thing like it was gonna walk all over the PS5. I remember it, and those people that used to say that, they know who they are. I remember this console being compared to like a 2080. It is not. It doesn't. In many cases, the PS5 performance-wise is better than the Series X. And when it comes to specs, I'm the most casual person you could think of. I don't know about specs, and I don't care about my experience. And it does bother me. I would be lying to you if I told you that it didn't bother. It bothers me to the core that I spent $500 on this console thinking that it was going to be more powerful than the PS5, and it's not. I don't even want it to be on par. If it's on par, it's already an L. And that's what people don't understand. People are like, well, some of the games, no. More powerful. More. If it's on par, it's already an L, because that's not what it was advertised as. You know, the saving grace for the Series X is Game Pass, and now that games aren't even running better on it, I should have just gotten an S.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you, man. Real quick, Doc, I want to introduce B Money. Just joined the panel. What's up, B?
What's going on, fellas?
Not much, man. Not much. B, I don't know if you've met Doc Dark, if you've had him, if you've interacted with him on Twitter, but B Money meet Doc Dark, Doc Dark meet B Money.
Hey, what's up, B Money?
Quick intros, man. Quick intros. Capoto says, "Nah, Doc, you don't want 900p." I think that's a reference to the Series S. So, but I understand. I understand your point, Doc. It's kind of been my sentiment too about the marketing around the Series X. But I want to go to Game Logic here real quick. Logic, is there anything like from a development standpoint as to why Ghostwire Tokyo wouldn't run maybe better? Why it wouldn't get that shine treatment that you might expect from a first party title?
As far as it running better than, as far as you wanting it to run better than it does on PlayStation 5?
Yeah.
I mean, from a portfolio management perspective, it makes sense to me. Ghostwire Tokyo to me is not a title that moves the needle. We've talked a lot about what's in the Xbox lineup for this year. Ghostwire Tokyo is not a system seller. People don't walk into GameStop so that they buy a Series X for Ghostwire Tokyo. So you have a studio working on it, Tango Gameworks. They're also working on Hi-Fi Rush at the time. It's a title that's coming to Series X a year after the PlayStation 5. It is, I hate to use this term, but look, I mean, I've talked about what the difference in how you have to manage a production pipeline and a portfolio when you're trying to run a subscription service. And the fact of the matter is that you are going to have content that goes into that subscription service that is marquee content. And you're going to have stuff in there that is designed to span the time, right, in between, right, to plug the gaps. And that's what Ghostwire Tokyo is. At least that's the way it was marketed. You look at where the marketing dollars have gone, and this is going to spawn additional conversation, but I'm just trying to set the table. You look at where the marketing dollars have gone, and the marketing dollars have gone to Redfall and Starfield, and then, to a certain degree to Forza Motorsport. but I think the marketing has been less towards Forza Motorsport, which to me is disappointing as a big racing game fan. So when you talk about resource management and you look at where you're going to put your oomph, it makes sense to me that you wouldn't have done more with that title than get the port done.
I'm already a fan of Logic. I'm already a fan of Logic. No, because that. So that was my other thing. Remember, I told you in the pre-chat that I had some things about Ghostwire Tokyo that I wanted to talk about, right?
Yeah.
I can't stand the damn pony fans out there that are acting like this game is made by Jesus. Like this thing is the best thing ever. Yeah, because they're acting like, oh my, like I get it. Yes, it's running worse, and yes, that is a problem. But they're acting like Ghostwire Tokyo is like the end all be all. And Logic explained it perfectly. Nobody cares about this damn game. Who cares about this about Ghostwire Tokyo? To me, Redfall is the bigger deal. Redfall running at 30 frames is the bigger deal because, like Logic just said, that is promoted by Xbox. And Starfield coming out. And they haven't even said if it's going to have a 60 frames per second mode. And the fact that I know no one on this panel and no one in this chat will dare to bet a dollar that it's going to have a 60 frames per second mode at launch. We wouldn't dare to bet that. But we know Spider-Man 2 is probably going to have a 60 frames per second mode. That's a freaking problem. But I'll let the rest of the panel talk.
No, and let me throw a little pepper on that. So a few things. I mean, look, I don't even like getting into this stuff, right? As far as the way PlayStation fans have approached the dialogue on this game, you go back a year ago and lots of them were dunking on Ghostwire Tokyo, right? Simply because at the time that it was being delivered, it was a Microsoft game. It wasn't a game that moved the needle within the PlayStation portfolio, but now all of a sudden this is supposed to be a big deal now. As far as I'm concerned, this has kind of been a nothing burger. It's been a lot of people making a mountain out of a molehill, and it's not, in my opinion, as an Xbox fan, it's not that big a deal in comparison to the other things that I'm concerned about. Yeah, I mean, I
keep talking about them ponies. I like that. No, he's right.
So
I mean, tapping real hard.
And the other thing I'll add is that for Xbox fans, right? And this is the same thing. And here's my other thing. I often say, like, be careful about throwing rocks when your own house is made of glass. As a Sony
ponies out there.
As a Sony fan, I wouldn't be up on the platform in the town square, screaming, calling loudly, throwing shade at Xbox about a port right now. I might give a little more time for the sting of the Last of Us port to PC to fade into the background before I worried about throwing that shade.
Let's go.
So my thing is, so for an Xbox fan, and this is what I said about The Last of Us, right? I mean, and I said a positive thing for PlayStation fans for The Last of Us. I said the only people who need to be burnt or feel badly about The Last of Us port is PC gamers who were actually going to play that game. Right, and now are disappointed that they can't. It doesn't really make a lot of sense in my mind at the time for PlayStation fans who only own a PS5 and don't play on PC, right, to be making a big deal of it. Nor did it make sense for Xbox fans who weren't going to play that game on PC to be making a loud noise about the port. My feeling is the same.
They should have been upset at the remake that they had to pay $70 for the same game again. That's what they should have been upset about. You're right. I agree.
So this is.
Hey, I was okay paying that $70, by the way, Doc.
I was too. I'll probably, if it ever gets fixed on PC, I might wind up paying it twice.
Me too, Logic. Yeah.
No, don't say that. What are we doing, Logic? You're doing good, Logic. What are we doing? What are we doing? What's happening?
Hey,
Bring money in. Bring money in. Bring money in.
Me money is going to.
We're losing, Logic. We're losing.
So my thing is the same thing about Ghostwire Tokyo, right? For Xbox fans, you should go play Ghostwire Tokyo. Ghostwire Tokyo, by all accounts, as far as I can tell, from critical reception, I haven't played the game myself yet. It's in my playlist. It's in my queue. By critical reception, this is a good game. The same way that we talk about, look, I use Metacritic as a database. I don't think Metacritic should necessarily be disregarded. You have to choose to use it the right way. Digital Foundry, I think, is a thing for you to pay attention to if you choose. I've often mentioned that those gentlemen are doing God's work, right? However, I've never watched a Digital Foundry video all the way through. I think I've watched one, and maybe that was the Dirt 5 video at the beginning of the generation. I do not let Digital Foundry tell me what I should play. And people who are using that as their barometer on how they should feel and what they should do are I think, maybe a bit immature. The game's in the portfolio. It's in Game Pass. If you're subscribed to Game Pass, it's a good game. Go play it. Don't spend your time being occupied by what the PlayStation guys are saying or by other people allowing you, other people trying to tell you how you should feel about your preferred platform.
That's right, because at the end of the day, those suckers had to pay for it.
B, what are your thoughts, man, on Ghostwire Tokyo? I don't know, B, if you saw the Digital Foundry video about the performance being, I forget what the actual quote from Digital Foundry, but it was basically like, yeah, there are noticeable differences in performance. It performs worse on the Xbox Series consoles compared to PS5.
I haven't watched a Digital Foundry video in probably a year and a half, to be totally honest. So I really don't pay attention too much about what's going on in regards to that game. I saw it a bit on the timeline, people kind of complaining about it not running on par with the PlayStation version, but I mean, the game is already out. It's over a year old. That's not really their priority. So I mean, it is what it is. It's not really a big deal to me. Nobody cared about this game last year. Nobody really cares about this game right now. So
let's go. This is an Xbox podcast. I like this. Let's go.
I don't understand all the uproar. You know what I mean? But it's Twitter, so people gonna go back and forth about nonsense all day. So it's kind of one of those things you just expect.
Man, I love it. I love it.
Doc, you're in your element right now.
I'm home. I'm home, baby. No, you know what? I have not heard anyone speak like those two gentlemen just spoke. That is very true. Nobody cares. Yeah. Who really cares about this game like this?
I guess for me, and I understand, like, it's not like Logic said that Ghostwire Tokyo is not a game that's really going to move the needle. It's not going to sell Xbox consoles. Like people aren't going out in droves to buy an Xbox for Ghostwire Tokyo. I think for me, though, I am a little surprised though that it didn't get the shine. That it being a first party studio, that there wasn't someone there saying, "Hey, let's make sure this game performs well for our series consoles," and come to find out that there's tangible differences, and like Digital Foundry point out. And again, I think to everyone's point here on the panel, I don't think that Digital Foundry should discourage you from playing a game. I agree with that. I think Ghostwire Tokyo is in Game Pass, and if you're interested and have Game Pass, you should absolutely play it. But for me, it's just kind of surprising, and maybe that's amplified a little bit for me because of the whole 30 FPS thing. And B, you weren't on last week, if I remember correctly, right? Last Wednesday.
No, I didn't make it last.
Yeah, but aren't you kind of like? I think you were kind of like, yeah, that's kind of odd to have 30 FPS on a shooter, right? For Redfall.
Yeah. I mean, like any shooter, you would expect it to be at least 60 frames per second.
That's
what I mean? So when you get into 30 frames per second on a shooter, it's like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, especially with it being like a multiplayer shooter, you know what I mean? Even though it's not like a multiplayer like PvP shooter, still, you know what I mean? It's gonna be frantic movement. You know what I mean? You got 4 players on the screen. You want to have that smooth frame rate, and to kind of have it at 30 frames, it's disappointing. You know what I mean? Nobody can really deny that.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think for me, because of the 30 FPS thing and everything else, I think this is probably, for me personally, just amplify a little bit more. I'm just surprised that, again, it's a first party game now, technically a first party studio, that it just didn't get that love, I guess, if you will, to where it's not going to perform any worse than than it would on the competitor's platform, is my point. So,
how well did Deathloop perform when it came over?
Well, Deathloop was.
I beat Deathloop on the Xbox. It played fine. It was.
Okay. I think. I don't think Deathloop had any performance issues. I don't think it. I'd have to go back and look at Digital Foundry's comparison. I don't think it had anything that was. Yeah, I would
But
say
you see, that proves to Logic's point. Like the only way a lot of this stuff we would even know is by looking at Digital Foundry. So a lot of this stuff we wouldn't even know. Like I played Deathloop on my monitor, which has VRR support. So like
you got to be careful saying that though, Doc, because some people say, "Oh, you can't tell the difference between 30 FPS and 60." I'm like, no, actually, you can.
A lot of people wouldn't though. That's the problem. A lot of
really,
people,
I
like,
can tell.
You tell them. No, but I'm saying if you don't tell most people that the game is running at 60 frames, they won't know.
I can tell, but I can't tell the difference between 60 and 55 with VRR on. I'm not gonna lie to you with that. You know what I mean? With variable refresh rate, I can't tell the difference between that. You know, so that's what I would say.
There's been stats where like most people would prefer to have the game look better than have it run at 60 frames.
I think
I mean? So like, most people don't even care about that.
But I think
when you boot up most games, they run in fidelity mode. You know what I mean? And I guarantee you, most people aren't even changing it to performance mode and don't even realize that the game has a performance mode. They just run in it however the game comes out of the box.
Yeah. But
that might be true.
But for me though, like 60 FPS for shooters OB, that's like this day and age, that's standard now at this point.
Yeah, but you also think like every other shooter you play is a multiplayer shooter.
Mm-hmm.
But like that is like that's standard. You wouldn't play Call of Duty at 30 frames. You wouldn't play Battlefield at 30 frames. You wouldn't play Halo at 30 frames. You know what I mean? But those all
I wouldn't play Halo at 60 frames.
You know what I mean? So like it is a bit of a difference there, but still, you know what I mean, with it being a shooter, you just expect it to be 60 frames.
Yeah. Well, even just for the hardware that we talked about, the Series XB, like I would expect 60 on that console.
What do we think is the problem, though?
You got to know Arcane, though, because, like, they never really, like, that's having, like, these crazy performance modes that's never really been their thing. You know what I mean? They like, American games. Their game don't need to be frames. Dishonored, you know.
Well,
like,
Dishonored was
those
never.
Games, yeah, those games don't, have to be fast-paced. That series is mostly like a stealth game. You know what I mean? So, like,
oh, absolutely, yeah.
You know, trying to hit like those performance marks was never, anything that they had kind of done before. So,
which kind of.
But they knew they were wrong, though. They knew they were wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
And this is why the marketing, right, and what has kind of become a theme on this show is the discussion of the messaging with Xbox, right? Where at the beginning of the generation, at the turnover of the generation, right, my negative comments at least were a lot about Sony and their messaging and Jim Ryan and the way that he handled things, right? But today, now, that worm is turned, and it's about how Microsoft isn't doing a great job. And this is why I also say I'm not disinterested to see a leadership shuffle at Microsoft, right? With some of these things, I don't know. Look, the cult of personality that is Todd Howard, I don't know if that's a good thing. And somehow Todd has done, I guess, ostensibly a great job.
Logic. Can I interrupt you real quick? No Todd Bless slander. No God Howard slander. I just want to. But go ahead.
Well, he has apparently done a great job, sitting at the table, shaking marketing money out of Phil Spencer's pockets. And what I don't understand, what I constantly get bothered by that guy is like I say it. I'm sorry, I know people have heard me say it multiple times, right? Him jumping up and down on a desk, setting a trash can on fire, insisting that something's going to be good, something's going to be great, something's going to be on time, and then missing the mark. And the problem with Redfall, this entire time, in my personal opinion, is it's a studio who is doing a thing that is not in their wheelhouse. That is not a studio that is known for co-op shooters. It's not a studio that's known for shooters really in the purest sense of the concept at all. And you're taking them and pushing them forward and making them the sacrificial lamb of being the guys who are going to come out with the flagship title this year, right? And this entire time, there's been at least a 50-50 split on how Redfall looks, how people think it's going to do. And I don't know that it was the best thing to put that studio in this position. I think the prospect of Redfall has always been a wobbly prospect, but it's got a big marketing push. It's got people shouting out of the megaphone. And now here we are at 30 frames per second, right? In a year that, quite frankly, it looks like people are stumbling, right? Getting out of the starting blocks for what was supposed to be the best year for Xbox, right, ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. I remember a lot of people were hyping up and saying things like, "This is the year. This is going to be an amazing year, just for 2022." And it's like, here we are, and there's the Redfall, and then there's, we don't know much about Starfield, other than it's releasing later this year. But they look, they had the Hi-Fi Rush. That was a great stealth release. I'm not going to take that away from them, but
right.
But that this year that everyone talked about hasn't really. That really hasn't played out. Forza, which you've talked about, Logic's missing. I think maybe it comes later this year. I don't know. B, have you heard anything about Forza?
No, I haven't heard anything.
Yeah. See, I don't. Yeah. Well.
I mean, so this here we are. This is supposed to be the championship year, right? Greatest year in gaming, 2023. Dudes, it's calendar week number 16. The year that is 2023 is 31% over.
Yeah.
Right? And we haven't moved the needle yet.
And this kind of goes.
Remember we talked about this earlier in the year, tail end of last year, like when we were trying to map out like where these games would land. Because they had all promised us that these games would be there, within the next 6 months. So we started planning it out like, okay, well, Forza's going to land here, Starfield's going to land here. This is where Redfall should land, and then, it started to play out. So Redfall is literally coming out like the month before all the other games where everything else was supposed to release. We still don't have a date for Forza. We have a so-called date for Starfield. I'm not sure they're going to hit that date or not. You know what I mean? And we, haven't really heard about anything else. So it's just one of those things where like they painted this picture that is a mirage. You know what I mean? It's not real. They couldn't live up to it.
It's almost like Xbox is better when they're buying games than when they're actually making them themselves. Where they're almost better when they're making deals with other developers and when they're actually making them themselves. It's just it's just so disheartening. But one of the things for me is like, I
don't give up hope, Doc.
Well, I mean, I don't judge a game whether or not it's first party or not, right? So when I look at Game Pass, I look at Game Pass as a whole. Like, it doesn't matter I don't think I'm going to enjoy a game more or less because it's first party. The only thing is that I expect the first party games to truly deliver on the hardware. That's the only difference. So that's why Redfall could very well still be a great game, but the problem is that it's, in my opinion, it's not using the entirety of the hardware. And I hear what Logic is saying, that this developer is not usually used to making games like this and all that other stuff. As a paying customer, I don't care. Like, you sold me this box. This is your developer now. Make them. Figure it out. Figure out how they can get me what I paid for. You know what I mean? That's the way I feel about it. But as far as like the year, if you're looking at just first party titles, then yeah, sure. But if you're looking at everything else that has dropped on Game Pass, like, no, if you really look at it, it hasn't been too horrible. You know what I mean? It hasn't been horrible with everything else that has been on there. I don't know if you guys had tried Wulong or if you guys liked Wulong or not, but there's a lot of stuff on there again that.
Oh, Wulong was a great get, by the way. I'm not gonna. That's why I said they did have some wins this year. Wulong, Hi-Fi Rush.
Right. Yeah. So again, it just depends what you're looking at. If you're only looking at it, and that's the biggest difference I've noticed with the PlayStation fans, that to them, a game doesn't count unless it comes from Sony, which is like, oh, okay, then. So then at that point, you have to buy the remake. It makes sense because there's what else are you gonna buy, right? If you only count games that come from Sony, you have to buy the remake. You have to pretend that you like, Forbidden West more than Zero Dawn, which I know you didn't. You're lying. There's no way you like Forbidden West more than Zero Dawn. It's impossible.
I like Forbidden West more than Zero Dawn, but go ahead.
Oh, you see, now he's showing the chat. He's showing his true colors.
No, I thought.
There's too much blue.
I thought Forbidden too much. I thought Forbidden West was the better of the two games, but go ahead, man. Finish your point.
Did you really, even story wise?
Yeah, no, I did actually. Yeah, I did.
Oh my god, that game was so long and dragged on forever.
Yeah, no, there were certain there were parts that game that dragged on a little bit, but and we'll talk about Burning Shore, which just released today, the Forbidden West DLC. But I'm sorry, go ahead, Doc.
But yeah, so when you're looking at Xbox like that as a whole, and you realize that their main purpose is Game Pass, like I don't think at this point anybody can deny that. Then you can see like, okay, so maybe they are doing what they've set out to do. And when you're looking at the year, okay, if you're looking at it as what's coming to Game Pass versus what's coming from Xbox, then you can tailor your expectation. But not that you have to. If you want to judge them on what's coming from Xbox, then yeah, it's looking like hot trash, and I can admit that. Guys, I'm sorry. I'm not excited for Starfield. No one has yet been able to convince me about the excitement. I'm not. I don't see the
it's my
excitement
game
for
of the
Starfield
year.
at all. I played Fallout 3 for the first time ever this generation. I beat it. I liked Fallout 3. It was cool, but I don't get the excitement for Starfield. I don't. But maybe you guys could change my mind, but
Oh, Doc, if you liked Elder Scrolls, any of those games, like those big open world games, I mean, and space exploration, like sci-fi stuff, it might be worth checking out, man.
at 30 frames?
I'm playing it on PC. So
Oh, that's right. I got a little tier PC. You're right. I got just gotta upgrade my PC. That's all I gotta do. You're right.
yeah, and let me grab the super chat real quick. Philip, and I'm not going to pronounce the last name because I won't get it correctly, but Philip, thank you for the $2 super chat. Says, why has Redfall not gone gold? It releases in 2 weeks. That's a great question.
Because they're still trying to optimize the game.
Yeah, that's
Does Xbox normally? I don't know that they normally announce Gone Gold.
I don't think they. I was just thinking about that. I can't recall a time when they did, but I don't know.
So, and look, I pushed back a little bit on Reforge when he tweeted something out about the Microsoft culture, Microsoft mentality, kind of being an overlay to the gaming division. But one thing I will say, right, where there is some concurrences, the term "gone gold" is antiquated, right, in the way that Microsoft delivers software now, and so that's not a term that they actually use. In fact, a lot of journalists covering the rest of Microsoft corporate who kind of get jabbed in the ribs when they use that term by Microsoft PR. So yeah, I don't necessarily think that they would use that term.
Damn, Logic. Damn, man. I just saw your tweet. Another round of mass layoffs expected in Meta this week? Come on. Oh, my God.
It's a year of efficiency.
Yeah. It's a year that I think the shareholders start looking at Mr. Mark Zuckerberg. Let me grab the super chat from Neil Wise for the $5.50 Canadian super chat. Says, instead of fixing Ghostwire Tokyo or focusing on the dev of the series console, they released Spider Thread update and said Xbox first party has no priority for Xbox. You lost me there. So they released Spider Thread update instead. Okay. Thank you for the super chat, Neil Wise. Borbor Country with $2 super chat. Borbor's back, Game Logic. We haven't seen him in months. Burning Shores cannot run on Xbox. Thank you, Borbor. I had a feeling you were to say that. Yeah, so recession, right? That's crazy, Logic. That's I'm reading that right now. I'm reading that article from TechCrunch. I mean, how many layoffs have they had? 11,000 November. They do like another 10,000.
I believe this is their third.
damn.
They're thinking about 4,000 jobs could be cut this week. That's insane. All right. So I lost. So Doc, what I was telling you real quick, and just kind of to give some of the listeners kind of insight what we were talking about. You talk about the marketing, the $500, and again, I said this. My criticism of Xbox comes from I know you've been on the Xbox a long time, so you remember this, right? You remember when they had the original Xbox, and they were like, it's the most powerful console. But what do they do, B, to back that marketing up? What do they do?
They had games that showed off the power of the console.
Exactly. And Doc just played one of those games, Ninja Gaiden. Remember when Ninja Gaiden first came out, B-Money, on the original Xbox?
Yes, sir.
It was jaw-dropping. And you see, and I gotta say, even like like with PS5 right now, like even though that Final Fantasy 16 is not a first-party game, like even watching that demo on that game or that demo of the game that they showed last week, the state of play. Like some of the like set pieces and movement in that game. Oh my goodness. I was like, what am I watching here? It was amazing. It was exciting. So, but yeah, to your point, Pete, I mean, that's kind of where my criticisms come from. And I just reiterate that because people think that when I criticize that platform that I'm criticizing without any, for no reason, like I'm not like there's no historical benchmark for me to compare. Like I don't have a historical benchmark comparing current Xbox to previous Xbox. And like what B Money said, the OG Xbox, when they said they had the most powerful console in the market, they backed it up like B Money said with games. Okay, and again, go ahead, Doc.
You guys something? Let me ask you guys something, because you guys sound like y'all been playing Xbox obviously way longer than me. So I always hear that, right, when people talk about how Xbox is not what Xbox used to be. What generation, in your opinion, was Xbox at its peak?
Generation 7.
360. Yeah, it was a 360 generation 7.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
360.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right. So then my follow-up question to you gentlemen is this. Is this current generation of Xbox better than the Xbox One?
Whew. I don't.
Come on now.
That's a tough thread. I would say at this point, 2.5 years in, it is as good as Xbox One, but I would say that the expectations now are much higher.
I
mean, it's straight out on the line for me. I mean, if you just look at the first 2.5 years of Xbox One, like there's great stuff there. And when I look at the first 2 years of this generation, there, to me, there's not much there. You know what I mean?
I love that answer.
So for me, I would probably say last generation at this point would be better.
Wait, I'm sorry. So wait, are you saying Xbox? There's a problem with Microsoft and the way they name things. When you said that, I was thinking the first Xbox, or do you mean actual last generation Xbox?
No, actual last generation Xbox. So Xbox One, last generation Xbox, compared to this Xbox generation, which one do you gentlemen believe so far is better? And the reason I like Money's answer is because I feel, again, I used to play when I was playing, and I was still playing video games, but I wasn't playing as much as I play now. I was playing on a PS4, but for me, it was simply because other people told me PS4 was better. I used to like those cinematic games and all that stuff, and I believe the whole narrative, like there's no real games on Xbox. But once I actually started playing those games on Xbox, like I played Quantum Break, and when I played it, I was like, what are people complaining about? I played Rise Son of Rome and beat it, and I was like, what are people complaining about? Well, so when I got to experience the Xbox One this generation, I didn't see the doom and gloom that everyone was talking about. But again, I didn't get to experience the whole marketing that Xbox did with the whole TV thing, which is what I really think probably turned gamers off, and the whole not sharing games and everything. But when you actually look at the games, there's a lot of good games on the Xbox One as well. So it's interesting to hear somebody say, yeah, the Xbox One generation now is better than this generation. So it's almost like, what do you want Microsoft to do? They're not going to be as good as they were with the 360, right? Because they had a great downfall. They can only rebuild. But what are we asking them to do? As a gamer, all I want is games. I don't care who makes them. I don't care if they're first party. I don't care if they're third party. I've never looked at who made the game. All I want is games. And I feel Microsoft is delivering on the games part, even if it is from other developers. What they're not delivering on, and I'm not going to lie about it, is I flat out feel like I was lied about the console. This console is not powerful. I don't care what anybody tells me, or it's not what they advertised it to be. I didn't want this console to be on par with the PlayStation 5. That's not what I wanted. That's not what I thought I was getting. So I think about it. I completely switched ecosystems for this. and now I'm here. It's stuck with a $500 box, which I would have been able to play the exact same games with a $300 box. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, so it's either you guys believe this generation is better than the Xbox One S generation, or it's not.
So the way you asked the question and the way you refined the question, I think still makes my original answer stick, even though I was answering the wrong question. And here's why. And I this is a cliche statement of mine is that, you know, for gamers, one of the things we have to do is we have to get to a point where we allow the state of two conditions to coexist, right?
Okay.
So there is stuff on the Xbox platform. And so on the left side of the equation, I don't feel like I need to take my Xbox Series X and throw it in the trash, right? But on the right side of the equation, here's what I mean by the expectations are higher. Microsoft has 23 studios now. They didn't have that during last generation. With that equates to a certain amount of resources that they have. Mm-hmm. The core reason I'm on Xbox isn't because of Wolong or Persona 3 Portable or some of these other games that are in the portfolio that I do go play. And this is the thing PlayStation players throw shade at. I'm on Xbox because of Halo, Forza, legacy titles that brought me to the platform like Project Gotham Racing, Gears, right? And so the conversation that I was having before when you mentioned, you know, they've put things in the subscription service and there are things there for people to play. I totally agree, right?
Yeah.
But I also feel like I'm looking for and expecting the things that brought me to the platform in the first place and that I want. I'm looking for the things that when Phil got on stage in 2017, right? Or even go back even further. When Phil got on stage and first talked about the backwards compatibility program, and I stood up and cheered, right? When Phil got up and announced Game Pass, I stood up and cheered with a slight caveat. I waited, right? In 2018, when Phil started announcing the acquisitions, I stood up and cheered. In 2019, where they said day, date, and PC, I stood up, cheered, clicked my heels, turned around, did a jig, right?
Yeah,
Now they have 23 studios, and I'm expecting more. And the core things, right? And so it's very much, I draw a lot of analogies to cell phones, right? In cell phone portfolios, when you look at Verizon, when you look at AT&T, there are phones, right? And then there are flagship phones, right? And I've used that term a few times. I'm looking for the flagship stuff, right? And I'm starting to get frustrated that I keep looking for it and keep looking for it and keep looking for it. And it's like Schrodinger's box, right? The fact that I open the box is the thing that's creating the situation where it's not there, right? And yes, you can not open the box and not be bothered by that. Absolutely. And 80% of the time, 72% of the time, I live my life that way too, right? But a third of the time, I do open the box and I'm like, yeah, there was supposed to be stuff in here and it's not there. And that's the thing that I'm not understanding, and that's the thing where I'm getting frustrated. And the thing that's most frustrating and the thing that I hate most of all is if there's stuff not there and there's a problem, speak to it. Don't talk to me. If they get on stage in June and talk to us like they didn't say last June that all these things were going to be there in 12 months, that's going to send me. That's going to send me through the roof, right? And what they've done in January is they got on stage and they talked to us like they didn't say 12 months before. They've got on stage and talked about Redfall and talked about marketing and are acting like they didn't make this a big deal. Todd Howard came on stage and they've announced 2 delays for Starfield and they act like they haven't made it a big deal. And that's a problem to me because just like you said, like you feel like you were lied to, right? Yeah. That's what starts to move me in that direction. And I don't like to use that term personally, right, myself, but that definitely moves me in that direction, right? It's not that you set an expectation that you weren't able to achieve. It's that you fail to man up and true up and admit to that and speak to it and take accountability for it. Yeah. And that's the thing that's frustrating me with Xbox right now.
Okay, that's a good way to articulate it. All right. Okay.
So that's a great point. That's a great point, Logic. Yeah, no, I would say
BRAP, you didn't answer the question, BRAP.
Yeah, no, I look, I think that I think the first 2 years of the Xbox One are better than the original, not the original Xbox. I'm sorry, the Xbox Series consoles. In terms of game, I mean, like they had games like Titanfall.
Wow, okay.
Remember, Titanfall was exclusive.
We had Titanfall exclusive. You know what I mean? Launch day, there was Dead Rising 3. There was Forza 5 was their launch day. What else was there?
I mean, Rise.
Rise Son of Rome was their launch day. So like right off the bat, you had 3 joints. You know what I mean? When you looked at the other side of the fence, like PlayStation had nothing. All they had was Killzone. You know what I mean?
But those games got killed.
They did, but those were good games. You know why they got killed? Because like the rollout for Xbox One was so trash.
Right.
They had to double back on everything. Like the media, same way that you know what I mean, the media was dogpiling on Sony at the beginning of the generation for all the decisions they made. That's exactly what they did to Xbox last year. Xbox made horrible decisions. You know what I mean? And they had to roll back everything that they planned. They went to E3. They talked about, you know, this console, and literally like a week later, the console was totally different. You know what I mean? Like they changed everything. So the media dogpiled on them for the first 3-4 years. You know what I mean? Like everything they did, they couldn't do anything right.
Couldn't do good, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, those games were like, if you play Rise Son of Rome, that's a solid game for what
It
it
is.
was for a launch game. You know what I mean? From Crytek, who's, you know, pretty much known for just Crysis. That was a good game.
I liked it.
Like Dead Rising 3, Forza 5 looked amazing. So they had stuff at the beginning, and then, you know, as time went on, we had Titanfall, which was an exclusive. You know what I mean? We had the big shooter before, you know, Call of Duty had really started getting ramped up on the console like that. And you know they went out and signed, you know, Tomb Raider for that year exclusive. So there was stuff there. Like they didn't get the, you know, they weren't held on the pedestal, or they didn't get the awards for the stuff that they were doing.
I mean, it's Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah, Sunset Overdrive. You know what I mean?
Fire, yep.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff to play. You know what I mean? They brought back Killer Instinct, and that was a great game. Like it gets totally overshadowed now. You know what I mean? It's not even in the.
They had Ori and the
FGC.
Blind. Didn't they have Ori and the Blind Forest? Was that on Xbox?
Ori, you know what I mean? Like they had
I
stuff.
played both Oris. That's one of the things too that this generation has helped me out with. Like I have expanded my genre of gaming. Like I only used to play story-driven, third-person, over-the-shoulder games and first-person shooters. That's it. This generation, I have played literally almost everything. I have tried everything, and I'm enjoying gaming more than I ever have. And again, I got to give that credit to the Xbox and the fact that the backwards compatibility and everything. So you guys mentioned Ninja Gaiden, like, yeah, you guys loved that game. You thought that game looked great. I got to play it for the first time at 4K, upscale to 4K, HDR, and 60 frames. Like, it was amazing for me. Incredibly difficult game. Almost broke my controller a few times, but it was amazing and it was fun. And that's a game that I would have never, ever, ever given a shot. You know what I mean? And people were like, no, you got to try this game. Because at the beginning of my channel, people were trying to prove to me the same thing that you just said, is that no, there was games. It's just people just ran with that freaking narrative, ran with the whole Xbox has no games. And then as I got a little bit more educated, then I realized it's not Xbox has no games, it's Xbox has no first party games. Then it was Xbox has no first party AAA games, because people don't even want to count Hi-Fi Rush. It's like, oh, that game, you know what I mean? They don't want to count. They want to make fun of games like Pentman and other games that aren't up their alley, but yet they want to talk trash when the game doesn't come to Game Pass, like that one game we're going to talk about. It's like, who cares about that game? Not good. I mean, I don't want to jump to topics, but you know, things like that. I just feel like the Sony fans this generation, for me, when I started playing on Xbox for real, I saw how disingenuous they are, and it made me feel kind of weird that I actually like PlayStation, to be honest with you. But yeah, but it's just from the fan standpoint. PlayStation is not bad. It's just they're just a little bit money hungry. But who can't blame them? You know, you can't blame them.
Look, I agree with B what he said about like the games like Rise, Son of Rome. I mean, that was you know, it wasn't the best game I've ever played, but I enjoyed it. I've beaten it twice. It was, I mean, it was visually speaking, it was, I mean, really, I mean, it was that showpiece. It was great.
Right.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, I was like, this is next gen. When I fired up Rise
And
Row,
I don't think the game was running at 1080. I think it was
no,
running like
I think it was like 900.
Yeah, resolutions.
Yeah, it was like 900p or something. But yeah, it wasn't really running at 1080, and you know, it was, but it looked so good, and it was that showpiece.
Yeah.
But yeah, but you know, there's another. I don't know if you guys heard. There's another game that's not coming to Xbox. Oxenfree 2. It's going to be coming out to Nintendo Switch, PS4, PS5, and Netflix. I didn't know this. I don't know how I missed this, but the developer behind Oxenfree, shoot, I forget the name. Is it? It's not Nightmare, is it? Hold on a sec here. Now I gotta look this up. Yeah, Night School Studios. I guess they're owned by Netflix now.
Yeah. They bought
know
them either last year or the year before that.
Yeah. Are you surprised to be this game, the sequel to Oxenfree 2 or Oxenfree did release on the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Are you surprised to not see it releasing on not PS2, on the Xbox Series consoles?
At first I was, and then, you know, I started talking to people, and, you know, I mean, it started to make more sense why it might not be there. But then again, it's still like, I don't understand why it wouldn't release as just like a digital download or something like that. You know, a lot of people are just saying, you know, because Netflix is a competing
Right.
platform, that, you know, the game isn't releasing on Xbox. But
Right.
I mean, PlayStation has PlayStation Plus. You know what I mean? Like they still have a service that you can get games on. You know what I mean? Like I don't understand why that would make that big of a difference. You know what I mean? You could still release your game on the Xbox store, and people could still go and buy it. It doesn't have to release directly in Game Pass. I don't know. It's just that's a weird situation for me.
Yeah, no, I was surprised again. I was surprised because of, and I don't know how well Oxenfree did on the Xbox. I'm not sure if it had anything to do with that, but it was I was like kind of like, wait a minute, like why it's everywhere else? I mean, it's even coming to Nintendo Switch, even PS4. Why not the Xbox? It's just and I don't think it's for the reasons like you just mentioned. B, like I know some people were saying, oh, it's because Netflix is a streaming service. There's Game Pass, but like to your point, like there's PlayStation Plus. Like, you know, it's essentially the same thing except minus, you know, the first party day and date stuff. So, but I wonder if I wonder if it comes to the Xbox platform maybe at a later date. Who knows, right? Maybe it comes at a later date. We'll see.
But why do that?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just.
I know why.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Doc.
So it is because of Game Pass. See, Netflix gaming right now is on mobile. That's how you access Netflix gaming. Like you could literally, if you have Netflix, you literally play Netflix gaming right now. Game Pass, xCloud is on mobile. PlayStation Now, PlayStation Extra, it's not on mobile. The only way you're gonna play those games mobile is with remote play. That's a completely different environment. That's a completely different way of accessing games mobilely. Like, no, they are competing. Don't get it twisted. They are competing with Microsoft. Microsoft said at the beginning of the generation, they said, we're not competing with Sony and Nintendo. We're competing with Google and Amazon. And then freaking Google went out the game, right? They're done with Stadia. And now Amazon is still with their little Luna stuff, right? And now Netflix wants to jump into it. And, you know, they're trying. But it makes sense. Like, I'm not gonna get here's a game that's not gonna go to the one competitor that's really trying to come into our space. Literally, mobile gaming on Netflix is the only way that you're accessing that right now. So, or you might be able to access it on PC. I'm not too sure, but I know for sure you can access it on your phone. But xCloud, same thing. PlayStation, no, you're not getting PlayStation Plus Premium on your PC unless you're gonna, on your mobile phone. You can't even do it. And even if you wanted to play remote play, you gotta play with a PlayStation controller or a specialized backbone controller. So Sony's just ridiculous with this stuff, man. You gotta buy their own little backbone controller. I can't stand Sony sometimes.
Yeah, X Abbott says Oxenfree was an Xbox One timed exclusive. He's saying no one cared about it. The studio's follow-up game was a Game Pass launch exclusive. Again, no one cared. Yeah, what was the game that Night School Studios released after that?
Like Night Party, I think it was called.
Well, I think it was Night Party, wasn't it?
Yes.
Oh, After Party.
After Party. Yeah.
Yeah, it was After Party. Yeah, I forgot After Party release. Yeah, that was in. God, when did After Party come out? That was 2019, 2018, 2019. I think it was 2019. Yeah. I don't remember.
Something like that.
Yeah, but I don't think it was. I mean, it was. I think the reviews were still pretty good, but not. I don't think it was as well as reviewed as well as Oxenfree.
No, Oxenfree is pretty good. I'm pretty excited about the second one.
Yeah, so you're picking. I assume then you're picking up the sequel then, B Money.
Oh yeah, for sure, man.
Was it good?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good indie game. Because you have to play it like multiple times because it has like a mysterious ending.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's pretty good. I really liked it.
Yeah, I don't know. Is it? I wonder if it's on Game Pass right now. Is it on Game Pass? I'm looking at it now. It might be something to check out, Doc. You know.
Oh, I might check it out if it is on there. Actually, I could check right now. Hold on.
Yeah, but Logic, any thoughts on Oxenfree 2 not coming to Xbox?
There's there may be a hook of truth in there to the competitive aspect of going on mobile and streaming and cloud. I tend to think it's more just a matter of resources. That team is a small team. They're building this on Unity, is my understanding. Chris Ray did a really good job speaking to dynamics in this area on the Broken Silicon podcast. Which came out earlier this week, and he just talked about how there's just a lot of teams out there that are building things in Unreal, building things in Unity, and the way a lot of these engines have scaled. They allow small teams to get in and do really effective work, but by the same token, those teams aren't going down a lot of the rabbit holes that much larger development teams with decades of experience have, and with that bucket load of tools that they have. So I tend to think this is just a team that scaled to the platforms that they could go on to, and then coupled with the notion that maybe the original Oxenfree didn't do that well on Xbox, just made choices based on the resources they have.
Yeah, that's a great point. I do want to move on to one more topic here. Doc, how are you with time, sir?
I'm still good. I got head out in a little bit, like maybe 10, 15 more minutes.
All right. So I want to talk about Horizon Forbidden West, the Burning Shore DLC, which just released today, and I had the pleasure of playing it. Maybe about 2.5 hours or so. That I've put into the DLC, but I gotta say it is a visually impressive game. Just the environment, the details in the environment look just better, which it's crazy because I thought that the main story in Horizon Forbidden West and the world there looked pretty amazing, considering that it was cross-generational. It was PS4, PS5 release. Right. This DLC in particular is actually a PS5 only release. And I know this sounds crazy, but the clouds, the clouds, the atmospheric environment, the water physics, it is, the world just seems so much more alive than it did. And again, even Forbidden West, it was impressive. The world that they've put out, or the world in this version or this DLC, just seems just to be a little more alive than Forbidden West, and that's, for me, that's saying a lot, because I thought Forbidden West looked really good. I thought it was Impatient Fire said the clouds are nuts. I think as crazy as it is to say the clouds are nuts, literally. It just adds this
No, clouds are actually hard, man.
Yeah, I mean, it just adds this other layer of this immersiveness in this world and environment. And it's just it's a beautiful looking game. It is a next gen game. This is like, and I said this, like when I spend money on consoles, like $500 consoles, and I want next gen experiences, this is what I want to see. And the gameplay is great too. I mean, you do have somebody, you do have kind of a sidekick with you, and they kind of help out with combat and stuff like that. So there's that element there that wasn't in Forbidden West. And you know, I didn't find that that sidekick that you have, like, I don't think they kind of help, but it's not to the point where they're kind of like, you know, just like bullet sponges either, or they're not really contributing to the battle, because they actually do contribute, but they're also it doesn't take away from, I think, the difficulty of some of the engagements that I've had with some of the machines. So but I'm really enjoying it. I think it's a beautiful looking. I literally stopped and like started just taking pictures.
Oh, the photo mode. No.
Yes, the photo mode got me. I'm telling you, I'm sitting there. Yes, the photo mode, Doc.
Oh man, I'm you know, I'm not even mad at you, because I actually played.
It's a beautiful game.
I played Forbidden West on a PS4, and I was astonished. I'm not even gonna lie, on a PS4 Pro, and I couldn't believe it how good that game looked, because I didn't have a PS5 at the beginning of the generation, and then once I got the PS5, playing that game at 60 frames, like, yeah, the game is beautiful. I can't even deny that. So if you're saying that it looks even better, then yeah, I wasn't excited to try it. So now Doc, you actually got me excited to try it.
Now I'm playing it on performance mode,
and it still looks better.
Yes.
Damn.
Like, I'm playing it on performance mode, and I'm just like, wow. It's just a beautiful game. It's probably the best looking game I played this gen.
Damn.
Yeah. Even the draw distances are improved. Like, it's just the scale. I mean, just everything. It's just, yeah. It is. I tell you, that Decima engine. If you played Death Stranding, which uses the Decima engine, Death Stranding looks pretty good. And I remember when Death Stranding came out on PC. Wow. Like, that engine, what Guerrilla's doing with that engine, it's like, it's wizardry. It is, yeah. It's, yeah, Doc. You gotta, if I tell you, man, just pick up the DLC, man. it's good, man.
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, I think it is. I mean, no, I know you didn't like Forbidden West. I think you said that.
I just didn't like the story, and I felt the game was dragged on for too long, and the first story really captivated me. So that's the only thing.
Yeah. Did you finish?
Yeah, I think that's I think that's just the problem with a lot of sequels now. It's because, like, they try to be bigger and better, and, you know, have a bigger story, and it's like, you don't need to do that.
Right.
Just refine everything that everybody loved from the first game.
Yeah.
And that's really all we want. You know what I mean? You can add some new mechanics, things like that. But I feel like a lot of games, you know, when they get to that sequel now, it's just like, yo, what are you doing? Why am I playing this for an additional 15, 20 hours?
Right. And then the only other thing is, I'm not a huge fan of side missions. And for anyone that hasn't played Forbidden West, do side missions and level up, because if you don't, you're gonna pay for it. You're gonna pay for it. Trust me. When I got to the end part of the game, oh my goodness, that was just ridiculous. I think the final boss, the lady in that freaking machine or whatever she was in, she was like 15 levels higher than me, something crazy like that. It took me forever to beat her, and it's because, like, for me, a side mission should be, if you want to do a side mission, you know, it should be a bonus. It shouldn't be a necessity. And in this game, I felt like it was like almost a necessity. I heard the DLC is actually pretty hard too, though. I actually heard you should probably level up before you play the DLC, because it's like part of the end game part of the game. Is that correct?
Yeah, you actually have to complete the main storyline of Forbidden West, and actually,
Okay.
yeah. So when you go back, so when you buy the game or the DLC, it downloads, and then you go back into the game, and I just hit continue in the menu, and then you wait for a call from Silas, which I gotta say to see here. Oh geez, I just forgot his name now.
Oh,
Lance
yeah.
Riddick.
Lance Riddick. Yeah, to hear his voice. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed his voice acting, in Horizon, and he's going to be missed.
Yeah.
But yeah, to see him kind of like one more time, just the feels. I got the feels.
Hey, so hold on. So I beat the game on a PlayStation 4 Pro. Is it gonna transfer to the PS5, or do I actually gotta beat it again on the PS5?
No, it transfers over.
Oh, okay, good.
It should transfer over. I think. Won't it like save automatically the cloud B, or do you have to enable that? Because I think at one point you had to enable cloud save.
It should automatically do it because I did the same thing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Doc, it's I'm telling you, man, and that opening cutscene with Silas, man, it's the feels, man, and it's yeah, and yeah, you go and then you go to what's the area that you're going to is Los Angeles. So it's really kind of interesting to see LA, post-apocalyptic LA.
Yeah.
And you see
that is a really good looking post-apocalyptic world. I like the way they did that.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah,
and
I like the way they did that.
yeah, and just the you see the what's the famous building? Is it Capitol Records building? I think that's like I don't know how to describe it.
LA?
Yeah, in LA. I think it's a Capitol Records building. Or Columbia Records. I forget what it is. Anyhow, so you see that building. You see what else do you see? I forget. There's a couple other landmarks you see there, but it's like I said, it is like, again, I know I've said this before. It's literally probably the best looking game I've seen this console generation so far. It is impressive. It is impressive.
Hey Doc, are you a PlayStation Plus subscriber?
I am, yes. A PlayStation Extra. I had Premium, but I didn't see the value in Premium, so I dropped it down to Extra.
Okay, great.
Yeah. I like it. I like subscription services so much that I even have Play Pass. Do you guys know what Play Pass is?
No, what's Play
Is
Pass?
that for Android?
So the Google Play Store thing.
Oh, yeah,
That's
that's right. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
That's
I see that all the
Right.
time. The advertisements for it. Yeah.
Yep. I actually have it. If to be fair, it came with my Verizon upgrade. They just gave me like Play Pass for free, so I have that. I also subscribe to Luna, and I used to subscribe to GeForce Now, but I just wasn't using it. So, yeah, I like subscription services. I know I'm those people that like to own their games. They hate gamers like me. I don't need to own my games. But to be fair though, when I used to buy games, I would go to the GameStop and go to the $20 bin, and that's where I would buy my games from. So I was always used to playing old games. So this generation where people were like, "Oh, you buy a brand new console to play old games?" To me, it was like, "Yeah, that's what I've been doing. That's what I've been doing." So it's literally, I feel like this Xbox was made for me, except for where they lied to me as far as the power of the box, So,
Oh man, you get some people mad at you, Doc.
yeah, but people, I want to own my games. Okay, you own your games, man. That's good for you. I don't want to own my games. It's okay.
Yeah, I was just asking to make sure that you had cloud saves.
Oh, is that part of the cloud saves?
Yeah, you do have to be a PlayStation Plus subscriber.
I can't stand Sony. You see this? Man, I'm going to Nintendo. At least Nintendo don't try to steal my money.
I don't think Nintendo's any better.
I know. I'm about to say Nintendo's
No, they're not. They're actually the worst. Yeah.
Yeah. But you should.
Hey, that's the real question. Why do we let Nintendo get away with murder?
Yeah.
Because they're the Disney of gaming, man.
That's
They are,
right.
yeah.
You're right. Respect Nintendo. You're right. I'm over here with 2 Switches for no reason.
Oh man, I hear you,
Literally,
man.
I got 2 Switches for no reason.
I've got a Switch OLED that I fire up every once in a while. Let me grab the super chat from Bobor Country, the $2 super chat. Thank you, Bobor. Says the destruction is way better, plus the combat is better. So thank you for that super chat. Yeah, the destruction is better in that game. Yeah. So Doc, yeah, I mean, maybe give it a shot, man. Let me know if you do play it, you do download. Let me know. It'd be interesting to get your thoughts on what you think of the DLC.
How much is the DLC?
It's $20.
Oh, that's more than 1 month of Game Pass. How am I gonna make that make sense?
Oh man,
How am I gonna make that make sense? How about one DLC for the whole price? You see it. That's another thing that the Sony gamers can't stand when I say things like that. You don't know the value of gaming. I know the value of my $15 now. It is what it is. You mad at me, but
hey, has anyone else on the panel played the Birdie Shores DLC?
Nah, I haven't played it yet.
Or planning to play
Busy
it?
playing Battlefield, man.
You're still
a new game mode
who's
coming up
playing
pretty soon, baby.
Battlefield?
Me, Money, still playing
I am.
Battlefield.
That game still exists?
I play. Yes.
Did they fix it? Is it better now?
Oh yeah, it's way better, man.
Oh, okay. That's what's up.
Yeah, Sony should not be charging for cloud saves, by the way.
There was something that I want to say about that Oxenfree not coming to Xbox. Like, it's not a big deal, right? Because it's not like a huge game. If you said something like Grand Theft Auto's not coming to Xbox, okay, that's a big deal. I see a lot of people upset that Final Fantasy's not coming to Xbox. Okay, that's a big deal. It's almost like if for whatever reason, not saying that it would happen, but for whatever reason, Call of Duty didn't go to Sony, that would be a big.
Yeah, see, but this was my question when people started talking about that. We know Joseph Staten just went over to Netflix, and he's supposedly making a AAA game. So if Netflix is going to expand their gaming reach and is actually trying to step into the AAA market, that could be harmful to Microsoft if that situation continues.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, just to add to it, so Netflix is looking at expanding into the AAA market, but they have said that they don't have any intention of scaling to like the size of a Microsoft or a Sony. I mean, their objective is it's an add-on. If you're a Netflix customer, it's like the cherry on top of the sundae, right? So just put it in terms of scale.
Very nice.
Yeah, I mean,
I thought Netflix was losing money. Isn't that what every Sony pony says?
I think Netflix. I'd have to go back. Game Logic. Do you know where Netflix stands today? I know Wall Street has, as of October of last year, was kind of somewhat poo-pooing streaming services a little bit.
Yeah, I don't remember what their actual earnings statement was because so much of the headline is always subscribers for them. So I don't know. I'd have to look.
Yeah,
but
go ahead.
I mean, Doc's thing is, people point to Netflix, and you and I have talked about this too, that, oh my God, whatever happens to Netflix, that's what's going to happen to Game Pass. And,
right.
You get all the doom and gloom. And I'm like, no, they're two very different business models.
Right. Man, Logic, you got yourself a fan. My man speaking facts. This is the Xbox podcast. I thought I was gonna get bamboozled, but I was not.
Oh,
except for all that capping for that Horizon. I don't know what's going on over here, Brad.
Hey,
it's amazing. I don't know about
we are not a console centric podcast. We are a gaming focused podcast.
I like that. Okay, you guys are neutrals.
Yeah, but I will say
no such things as neutrals. Everyone has their preference.
Yes, that's why I tell people to buy PC. It's the best place to play video games. That way, when if you get buy a PC now, so that when Starfield comes out, you don't have to worry about 30 FPS.
Oh man, that's horrible. Because you're probably right. That's horrible. Because you're.
Am I wrong? Right? I mean,
no, you're not.
I'm not gonna be playing. Hell, I don't even play Halo.
That's where the push is, though. Yeah. You know what I mean? We saw that they just expanded in all those countries.
And
for
that's
PC Game Pass. You know what I mean?
So B, you think the push is PC for them now, not Xbox?
It is.
There's more Game Pass subscribers on PC than there is console.
Wait, is that true?
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, I read that. Yeah.
No way. For real?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so I ain't even mad at them now. You got to go where the money is.
It kind of makes it like Logic. We talked about it, I think, earlier this week, like about the Game Pass subscribers being mostly on PC, right?
Is that real?
Did I have that conversation with you? Yeah.
Holy cow! I did not know that.
Yeah, Lodge, did I? Was that you
and
had the conversation
they
with?
just expanded to like
More
10 or
markets.
14 more countries or something
They
like
did,
that.
yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, you mentioned it. I don't think we got into it that much though.
Oh, I thought, but we were talking about like how like that kind of would make sense for PC or something, the way PC players.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
I said it makes sense for PCs it made sense for PC gamers for the way they consume games. Because
exactly.
I mean, you either there are some standout demographics right in the PC gaming community, right? And we laugh and joke about it a lot. You have people who run to Steam and buy everything when it's on sale, right? And then you just wind up having this
summer
huge
sales
backlog of 300 something games.
That's true.
Yeah, so I mean, for people like that, like Game Pass kind of makes sense because rather than buy a ton of games that you're never going to play, you can just, I mean, because if you go to PC Game Pass and you're not on the console, then you're just paying the $10 per month, right? So if you're that type of gamer and that type of consumer, that may be a more convenient way or an equally convenient way to go in and buying a bunch of stuff on Steam.
I love the PC gamers with the 3080s to play Stardew Valley. I love that.
Oh man, that's.
I love that.
People with 3080s are playing Stardew Valley, man. Come on.
I know they are.
You know, they're not playing Stardew
right now because he knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Is somebody playing Stardew Valley with 3080?
I upgraded my PC. What are you playing? CS:GO? You can play CS:GO in their refrigerator. But okay. Am I lying though?
Oh, Doc. No PC slander here today, sir.
No, I love PC games. I just think it's fun. I got my powerful rig. What are you playing?
Doc, I'll remember
playing Roblox.
Doc,
and Minecraft. That's great.
Doc, I'll remember that when you're playing Starfield later this year.
No,
at
don't
30
do that
FPS.
to me. You see, don't do that to me. He getting mad. I thought he said he was neutral. Look at him.
I'm going to send you screenshots.
Hey, you know what? I like PC gamers. They be lying too. Be like, you can emulate Switch games. Ain't nobody emulate no They fucking liars. Oh my god. They so funny. I love PC games.
Oh, Stardew Valley.
Power, and they all got a Steam Deck to run at 40 frames. All of a sudden, 40 frames is okay.
Come on.
Freaking PC game.
Come on.
It's hilarious. No, I like PC gamers. I like PC gamers. Yeah, y'all okay with me?
Yeah. So B, you think that's where the I'm sorry, but you say that's where the growth is going to be, or that's where Microsoft's focus on growing Game Pass?
I think that's where the growth is going to be. You know what I mean? It's because, like I said, they're expanding, I think, to 10 or 14 more countries. It's cheaper. You know what I mean? The PC market has just grown tremendously over the last 5-10 years. You know what I mean? So that's where most people are. And if, Sony continues to put their games on PC, it only makes sense. You know what I mean? For more people to kind of gravitate that way, because you can get everything on one box. You know what I mean? So just makes sense.
I do have a question for y'all before I leave, if you don't mind, Brad.
Yeah, and we got a super chat for you, but go ahead, man.
Okay, so I feel at home right now. I realize this is an Xbox podcast, so I love it. Thank you so much. I appreciate the chat. Okay, so I feel confident that you guys are gonna give me a real answer. So this comes from the bottom of my heart. Okay, a lot of the ponies out there are galloping, and they're terrified of the moves that Microsoft is making. Okay, listen, they're galloping all over the place. I don't know if you see them. The last generation, they were grazing no more. These guys are losing their damn minds, okay? So they're terrified of all the moves that Microsoft is making, and they're saying that if Microsoft takes over and all this stuff, that they're going to end gaming and that it's all bad for gaming. I want to believe them, but I just don't see what the problem is. So can you guys explain to me, and be honest, is there a problem with Microsoft or Xbox buying everything? Like, they're terrified of this Activision Duty Blizzard deal and the fact that Microsoft might buy more stuff. Like what is the actual problem? Like, I'm being serious. Like, what is the actual problem? Because I'll listen if we got a good reason.
Well, let me jump on that because I'm like you. When people have raised that, I've been like, that's like the worst kind of like conspiracy theory tinfoil hat like concept to have. But I do have to say one thing that is becoming a burgeoning concern is, you look at what we're doing with Call of Duty, right? And I've mentioned this, I've talked about this mainly from it, the notion of it being anti-competitive. But let's move the merger out of the way, right? The fact of the matter is that, and I can't remember what I was thinking of, but I was thinking the other day that Microsoft is becoming the Android of gaming. And what I mean by that is,
logic is good. Okay.
The Android approach, and the reason Android has a big foothold is because, lots of manufacturers sell very cheap Android handsets, which is great for countries where people can't afford flagship phones, like the iPhone or the Galaxy S23. And so you get a ton of Android handsets out there. That's what holds the breakwater against, Apple having, an overwhelming market share, right? In a lot of countries, in the US, obviously Apple has a huge market share because Americans like to buy everything on credit, but that's another conversation. But I do get concerned with Microsoft's approach when you look at how that's being realized with Call of Duty in putting Call of Duty everywhere, right? It is an approach that seems to signal and signify that we're treating it like a commodity, and not something special. And I think it popped into my mind because I was having these conversations with PlayStation, and I was trying to say that, look, there is a dollar value, there is a price tag that you put on the feeling of prestige and prestige products, and that's a lot of what the PlayStation community swims in. Now, some of the things that they hang their hat on, I think, fall apart, right, when you talk about things where it gets overwhelming, right, when they take the perspective that everybody wants what we want, and I'm like, right. No, that's not the case. Everybody doesn't game like you. Everybody doesn't consume like you.
Right.
It's a mathematical fact that they have the largest player base, and that obviously demand, right, is in that direction. There's no question about that. I think one of the things I was going to bring up tonight was in the Xbox conversation, there's a lot of behavior about with Xbox sales numbers. And I'm like, well, look, Xbox was never going to win this generation by sales numbers.
Right.
They're coming from a 2-1 deficit.
Right.
At best, the intention is to either hold position or slightly gain. But there was never anything like they were gonna hit parity numbers like they were during the Xbox 360 generation. That's just not a market reality. But I do worry about how Microsoft approaches some of these things and I see these ads that they're running in London. They're like, oh, hey, 150 million more players are going to be able to play COD. I'm like, is that a good thing from a marketing perspective? From a prestige product perspective, that hey, everybody can play our games. There's some upside to that, but there's also some downside to that too, right? I mean, Android owners, we love being geeks and nerds, and we love digging into all the APKs and doing all types of stuff. But any honest Android user looks across the aisle at the person holding the iPhone, and they know that there's a feeling of prestige associated with that product that we don't always get, right? And when we do get it, we pay really high prices for it, right? To get something like a Galaxy Fold or a 23 Ultra or whatever, and you're always weighing that. Am I going to pay the exact same price for this that somebody pays for the iPhone? So I do get concerned about that.
I do love the phone analogy because I've made this example before. Owning a PS5 is like owning an iPhone. Like you don't really know why you got one. It's just cool to have one. You know what I mean? It's just real cool to have one, because most of the people, like you said, that own a PS5 have the largest player base and everything like that. They're playing multiplats. They're playing the same things that can be played on an Xbox or on PC or whatever. That's why when Sony talks about Call of Duty, I believe them. I believe that Call of Duty is huge for them. There's no doubt. I believe a lot of multiplayer games are huge for them. But then when it comes to, what was I saying? When it comes to freaking, what's it called? Oh my God, I just lost my train of thought. When it comes to the first party games, they don't do the same numbers that like Nintendo does. This is the other thing I say.
Nobody does, though.
That's right. This is what I say, right? Nobody buys a Switch for third-party games. Nobody does. You buy a PlayStation 5 for third-party games. You do. A lot of casuals buy PlayStation 5 too because it has the bigger the name recognition and the name brand or whatever, or a PS5 or whatever, right? Versus the Xbox. But as far as how you answered it, Xbox, the whole doom and gloom, I don't think that's too bad. I think that they are playing a different game. Like, go ahead, you can have your iPhone and make fun of me because my blue check, my blue bubble pops up on your phone, and you think that your phone is better than mine, and you don't even realize that your screen is made by Samsung as well. That's just hilarious to me. The freaking iPhones. I hope there's no iPhone users on the panel. Nobody uses iPhones on the panel, right? Brat, you're an iPhone user, huh?
Nobody uses that dog shit, man.
Exactly. You see what I'm saying? This is an Xbox, Android. This is great.
but where it gets worrisome, right, is where some of those theories, right, could become true, right? Because if I hate using these words because so many other people use them who are just basic, but if you take the approach that things are being ground down to a commodity, if you take the approach where things are being ground down to a commodity, right, then other factors start to take hold, right, and start to have weight. Getting things out the door, quantity over quality.
Real quick. Look at all the iPhone users in the chat. And their feelings. Look at them. Y'all don't even know why you got an iPhone. Look at y'all.
Oh, Doc, you.
I'm an iPhone user.
Don't say it. Don't admit that. Logic, what we doing?
I am, but I'm. Look, I approach tech just the same way I do as gaming. I have all the phones, so I mean, it doesn't matter.
Okay, good. Look at all the iPhones. They're so mad. Look at them.
I know there's some aggressive Android users out in that crowd there too, because they have called me out when I've thrown shade at the Google Pixel. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't, and that's again, that's that danger too, and even the FTC has talked about that, right? Where, if Microsoft in its pursuit of acquisition, that also allows them to hold sway in the labor market, right, as well. And then you do things where Microsoft is essentially price setting, right, in terms of by setting salaries, right, for a large majority of developers, that then the rest of the industry starts to kind of align around. It establishes greater bargaining power for them in the barter market of human capital. And so there are some outliers out there that could become an issue, right? If there's not something that happens that kind of checks some of that aggressive growth.
Yeah, that's a great point, Logic. I want to get this super chat from Alfonso Carter. $5 super chat. This is for you, Doc. He's saying, so Dark, you say that you don't buy games. So if Game Pass dies, even on PC, are you going to quit gaming?
No, I'll go back to what I used to do. I go to the bargain bins at GameStop where I buy games for 2 for $20. That's the same way I used to buy games before. So that's what I'll do if Game Pass dies. But what do you mean? But because I do have other subscriptions as well. So if PlayStation Plus is still around, then I'll just use that. I do like the subscription service model. I really do. I do it for music. I do it for movies. I do it for shows. I don't remember the last time I bought an album. So I do like it.
And you can always go PC. There's subscription services on PC as well.
Oh, that's right. There's
EA, there's Ubisoft Plus.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's subscription services there. Yeah, but look, I want to go ahead and wrap up tonight's show. I want to give a big shout out to everyone in the live chat. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with us. Please smash that like button. We had over, it was 200 people here watching at one point, only 47 likes. So do me a favor, smash that like button. If you're new to the show, consider subscribing and hitting the bell notification so you're alerted when we go live. And I want to give a big shout out to our special guest this evening, Doc Dark. Doc, thank you again for hanging out with us tonight, man. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun, man. Thank you. I had a blast.
I appreciate you guys having me, man. This was a lot of fun. I was watching the chat all night, see if I could get under the skin a little bit. I think I did pretty good.
I think so. I like how,
guys,
I like how you called us
fun,
an Xbox-centric podcast, too, man.
I know they didn't like that. It was good, man. I had a lot of fun. And Yeah, man, great panel, man. I mean, B Mummy and Logic, like y'all spit a lot of facts. So I really appreciate it. And very different takes, and I like it. So good
No,
stuff.
no, I appreciate having you on Get Doc. And Doc, if you want to be found, let everyone know where they can find you on social media.
Oh yes, I appreciate that. So the YouTube channel is the gamer tag DocDog1985. I have a YouTube channel. I have a Twitch channel which I stream games as well. I'm on Twitter, DocDog1985, and my gamer tag across all platforms is DocDog1985. So you can find me, request me as a friend. I usually add everybody unless you try to request me as like what's that thing PlayStation does, close friends or whatever. Like yeah, we don't do that. Like just request me as a regular friend, and you can see what I play, you can see what I don't play, you can see what I cap for, what I don't cap for, and I'm pretty transparent. If I played it, I'll tell you I play it. If I haven't played it, I'll tell you I haven't played it. So it is what it is. So yeah, join me and become one of my friends. Be cool.
No doubt, man. Doc, again, thank you for coming on. And I got one more super chat here. Blessed Red with the $2 super chat says, all in all, just buy a PC. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. Just buy a PC.
I got a $500 PC.
Oh, man. That was funny when I heard that, man. I'm like, oh, man, that's pretty funny.
I don't want to hear from you PC gamers 3080 playing Stardew Valley. I don't want to hear it.
Stop with that. That's I don't know who told you those lies.
On a 1440p monitor. Oh my God, yeah, wild.
Right.
Yeah, wild.
No more PC slander, man. No more PC slander. And then we got Game Logic. Game Logic, man, always a pleasure, man. Let everyone where they can find you as well.
Yeah, you can catch up with me and the other cast members of the Enough to Keep Going Weekly Games podcast over on the E2KG Network podcasting channel. Sunday nights at about 8:45 p.m. Eastern time, or you can follow me on Twitter at GameLogic.
Awesome. Always a pleasure, Game Logic. And then we got B Money 101. B, let everyone know they can find you, man.
Yeah, you can find me everywhere. Same name, B Money 101. I will be on Battlefield, like I've said over the last few weeks. Just kind of digging into the backlog and playing some old games. But if you want to get on Battlefield, just hit me up. I'm always down to play.
No doubt, man. And again, I want to apologize to everyone. I am a little bit under the weather today, so I don't have as much energy as I typically do. So if that came across, my apologies. Like I said, I've just been under the weather the last like 2 days or so. But I want to say something real quick too. I did beat Resident Evil 4 Remake. Great game. Try it out if you haven't. It's pretty good. So on that note, we are out. Thank you, everyone, the live chat, for hanging out with us this evening. Appreciate it. And leave your comments in the comment section below. And we'll be back next week. May do another BRAP rant later on the week. So give me a follow on Twitter at BRAP_podcast. So you get all the updates on when we go live. But thank you again to our guest, Doc Dark. Appreciate it, sir. And everyone, enjoy the rest of the week. We'll see you next time.
All right, good night, chat.